Tonight is not an ordinary night. April 16th, 2026 carries something inside it that most people will never feel, but you already do. That pressure in your chest, that strange stillness behind your eyes, that feeling that something enormous is ending, even if you cannot name what it is. You did not find this by accident. The universe does not send its most sensitive souls a warning and then leave them without a reason. What you are feeling right now is real. It is ancient, and before this night is over, you will understand exactly why. There is a kind of tiredness that sleep cannot touch. You have felt it lately. Not the tiredness that comes from a long day or a restless night. This is something deeper, something that lives in your bones, in the space behind your eyes, in the quiet moments when the world goes still and you suddenly feel the full weight of everything you have been carrying. You wake up already exhausted. You move through your day as though you are walking through water. You smile when you need to. You answer when you are spoken to. But somewhere underneath all of it, there is a part of you that is completely, utterly spent. You have probably tried to explain it away. You have told yourself that you need more rest, more sunlight, more time, but no matter what you do, the tiredness remains. It does not lift with coffee. It does not lift with sleep. It does not lift with distraction, because this exhaustion was never about your body. It was never about how many hours you slept or how busy your schedule has been. What you are feeling is the exhaustion of a soul that has been holding on far too long to something it was never meant to keep forever. This is not a malfunction. This is not depression, and it is not weakness. What you are experiencing is one of the most profound signs that a deep energetic completion is underway inside you. When a cycle is truly ending, the soul begins to disengage from it long before the mind catches up. Your energy is not disappearing, it is being redirected. It is being pulled inward, the way a tide pulls back before a wave, because something enormous is preparing to move through you. On April 16th, the Balsamic Moon enters its final breath before the new moon rises. This is the darkest, most sacred phase of the entire lunar cycle. It is the moment when the moon herself grows so quiet, so still, so surrendered, that she almost disappears from the sky entirely. And in that disappearance, she is not dying. She is preparing. She is gathering everything she needs for what comes next. Your exhaustion is doing the same thing. The universe does not ask you to be strong right now. It asks you to be honest, and the most honest thing you can feel tonight is exactly what you are already feeling. That deep, wordless weariness is your soul's way of saying, I have carried this long enough. I am ready to put it down. I am ready to stop pretending that the old version of me still fits, because it does not. And somewhere beneath the tiredness is beneath the heaviness, beneath all of it, you already know that. Tonight, Chiron, the wounded healer, aligns with the sun in the sky above you. Chiron does not bring pain without purpose. Every time Chiron activates, it surfaces the one wound that has been quietly running your life from the shadows. The exhaustion you feel is connected to that wound. You have been spending enormous amounts of energy managing it, hiding it, working around it, and building your entire identity on top of it. Tonight, the sun shines its full light directly onto that place, not to humiliate you, not to break you, but because a wound that lives in the dark can never truly heal. The tiredness you feel tonight is not the end of your energy. It is the end of the effort it took to be someone you were never meant to be permanently. Let yourself be tired. Let yourself be still. The exhaustion is not a sign that you are falling apart. It is a sign that you are finally, at last, being allowed to put something down. Something in you has been pulling away. Not dramatically, not with the announcement or an explanation, just quietly, steadily, like a candle flame that flickers inward instead of outward. You have noticed it in small ways, the messages you have not returned, the invitations you have let pass, the conversations that used to feel easy and now feel like an enormous effort, as though every word costs you something you are not sure you have left to give. You have been canceling plans, you have been choosing silence over noise, solitude over company, stillness over movement, and part of you has been wondering whether something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. What you are experiencing is not avoidance. It is not isolation born of sadness, and it is not a sign that you are losing your connection to the world. What you are feeling is something far older and far more sacred than any of those explanations. It is the soul's instinct to retreat before it transforms. Every creature in nature understands this. The caterpillar does not dissolve inside its cocoon in public. The seed does not crack open in the middle of a crowd. Transformation is a private act, and your soul, which is wiser than your mind will ever fully understand, knows exactly what it is doing right now. You are being called into your own sacred void. In the ancient traditions, the days before a new moon were treated as holy ground. Priests would go silent, fires would be extinguished, people would withdraw from their ordinary lives and enter a period of deep internal listening. Not because the world had ended, but because something was ending inside them, and that ending deserved reverence, not distraction. The Balsamic Moon that holds the sky on April 16th is that exact threshold. It is the cosmic permission slip your soul has been waiting for. The urge you have felt to disappear, to go quiet, to stop performing and simply be. That was never a problem. It was preparation. Tonight, Mercury aligns with Neptune in the sky above you. Mercury governs the mind, the voice, the way we connect and communicate with the world around us. Neptune governs the invisible, the dreamlike, the vast oceanic spaces between thoughts where something greater than logic lives. When these two meet, the mind does not think more clearly, it thinks more deeply, it stops running along the surface of things and begins to sink, and when the mind sinks, the noise of the outside world becomes unbearable. Not because you are broken, but because you are being tuned to a different frequency, one that requires silence to receive. The withdrawal you have felt is not you pulling away from life. It is you pulling towards something you cannot yet name but can already feel. There is a version of you that exists beyond the roles you have been playing, beyond the relationships that were built around who you used to be, beyond the daily performance of a self that was always slightly too small for what you were carrying inside. That version of you does not live in the noise. It lives in the silence you have been desperately instinctively creating around yourself. On April 16th, the universe draws a line, and everything on the other side of that line belongs to the old story. The people, the patterns, the obligations, the identities that were woven from a version of you that is completing its cycle tonight, they cannot follow you through this threshold. Not because they are bad, and not because you do not love them, but because what is being born inside you now requires a different kind of space to breathe. The silence you have been reaching for is not emptiness. It is the sacred quiet before the most important chapter of your life begins to speak. There is a grief sitting inside you that has no name. You have felt it moving through you lately, rising at the strangest moments. In the middle of an ordinary afternoon, for no visible reason, your eyes fill with tears. You are driving or washing dishes or lying in the dark before sleep finds you, and suddenly there it is. A sadness so wide and so quiet that it does not feel like sadness at all. It feels like something else, something older, something that does not belong to any single memory or any single loss, but seems to hold all of them together in one vast wordless ache. You have probably tried to locate it. You have searched through your recent days looking for the thing that caused it. A conversation that went wrong, a relationship that shifted, a dream that did not come true in the way you imagined it would. And sometimes you find something that almost fits, something you can point to and say, yes, this is why. But even after you name it, the grief remains. Because the grief was never only about that one thing, it was about everything that one thing represented. Every version of a future you quietly let go of. Every part of yourself you set aside to survive. Every moment you chose safety over truth, and every moment you knew it, even as you were doing it. This is not ordinary sadness. This is the grief of a soul that is completing something real. On April 16th, the sun aligns with Chiron, the wounded healer, in the sign of Aries. Chiron carries the energy of the wound that cannot be fully healed by logic, by time, or by will. It is the wound that lives beneath the wound. The one you built your entire coping structure around without ever quite acknowledging it was there. And when the sun moves into perfect alignment with Chiron, that wound is no longer able to stay hidden. It rises, not violently, not dramatically, but with a quiet, undeniable insistence that says, it is time. It is time to look at this. It is time to stop carrying it in silence. The grief you are feeling right now is that wound asking to be witnessed. And there is something else happening above you tonight that makes this moment even more tender. The Balsamic Moon, the thinnest, darkest sliver of the lunar cycle, is in her final hours before disappearing entirely. In many ancient traditions, the Balsamic Moon was considered the moon of release, the moon of the ancestors, the moon that carried prayers of letting go across the threshold between one cycle and the next. Whatever you grieve beneath this moon does not simply dissipate. It is received, it is honored, it is carried away by something far greater than the individual weight of your sorrow. You do not need to understand your grief completely in order to release it. You do not need a perfect explanation, a clean narrative, a tidy reason that makes sense to other people. The grief knows where it came from, even if you do not. And the universe is not asking you to solve it tonight. It is simply asking you to feel it, to stop moving past it, to stop being productive or reasonable or composed in the presence of something this sacred. Because grief, when it is allowed to move through you without resistance, does not diminish you. It hollows you out gently, the way wind hollows a canyon, creating more space inside you than existed before. What you are grieving tonight is not a failure. It is not evidence that you chose wrongly or loved poorly or wasted precious time. What you are grieving is the life you lived as someone who had not yet fully arrived into themselves, and that life deserved to be lived. Every part of it brought you here. Every wound, every wrong turn, every quiet moment of surviving what should have broken you, all of it was the path. And now, the path is complete. Let the grief move. Let it be as large as it needs to be, because on the other side of it, something in you is waiting that has never grieved at all. Something has been speaking to you in the space between sleeping and waking. You have noticed it. The dreams that feel less like dreams and more like places you have actually been. The images that arrive just before consciousness pulls you back into the day. Vivid, precise, carrying a weight of meaning you cannot quite translate but cannot quite dismiss either. The thoughts that do not feel like your own. The sudden clarity that arrives uninvited in the middle of the night, as though a door opened somewhere in your mind, and something walked through it carrying answers to questions you have not yet learned how to ask. You wake up with a certainty about something you cannot explain. You hear a word, a name, a phrase inside your mind so clearly that you turn around looking for who said it. You are not imagining this. What is happening inside your mind right now is not the product of an overactive imagination or a restless nervous system in need of quiet. What you are experiencing is a genuine rewiring, a recalibration of the frequency at which your consciousness receives information. And it is happening because the sky above you on April 16th holds one of the most extraordinary alignments for the awakened mind that this year will offer. Tonight, Mercury and Neptune move into perfect conjunction, merging their energies in a moment that dissolves the boundary between what the mind thinks and what the soul knows. Mercury is the messenger. It governs the way you think, the way you process, the way you translate the invisible into language. In its ordinary state, Mercury keeps the mind sharp, logical, and grounded in what can be proven and measured. But when Mercury aligns with Neptune, something extraordinary happens. The sharp edges of the rational mind begin to soften. The walls that separate thought from feeling, analysis from intuition, the known from the deeply sensed, those walls become permeable. And through the gaps, something vast and luminous begins to pour through. Neptune governs the ocean of consciousness that exists beneath everything you can see and name and explain. It governs dreams, visions, psychic sensitivity, and the kind of knowing that arrives not through reason, but through resonance. It governs the moments when you think of someone and they call, the moments when you know something is wrong before anyone tells you, the moments when a song, a word, a single image carries so much weight that it stops you completely and you do not know why. Or Neptune is the part of existence that cannot be measured. And tonight, it is flooding your mind. The downloads you have been receiving are real transmissions. The visions arriving in your sleep are not random electrical firings in a resting brain. They are messages being delivered to you by a part of yourself that exists beyond the ordinary boundaries of waking life. A part that has always known more than your conscious mind has been permitted to access. And the Mercury-Neptune conjunction is the cosmic event that tears down the permission barrier entirely. Tonight, for those who are sensitive enough to receive it, the channel between the higher self and the waking mind is fully, completely open. This is why you cannot stop thinking. This is why your mind will not quiet itself the way it normally does. This is why the ideas are arriving faster than you can process them, why the feelings are more layered than usual, why everything around you seems to carry a meaning just beneath its surface that you can almost but not quite touch. You are not losing your grip on reality, you are gaining access to a larger one. Do not dismiss what arrives tonight. Do not edit it before you have received it fully. The intuitive hit you have been second-guessing, the inner knowing you have been explaining away, the vision that felt too significant to be real. These are not distractions from your path. They are the path itself, being written in real time across the surface of your awakening mind. What the universe is transmitting through you tonight was always meant for you. You simply finally have the frequency to receive it. Somewhere beneath everything, you already know. Not the kind of knowing that arrives with evidence or explanation, not the kind that you can defend in a conversation or write down in a list of logical reasons. A different kind of knowing entirely. The kind that lives in the body before the mind catches up. The kind that wakes you at 3 a.m, not with anxiety, but with a strange electric stillness. The kind that makes you look at your own life, your routines, your relationships, your daily rhythms, and feel with absolute quiet certainty that you are standing at the edge of something, that the ground behind you is already dissolving, that what is ahead of you is enormous and real and yours, even though you cannot yet see its shape. You have been feeling this for longer than you realize. It did not begin today. It began weeks ago, perhaps months ago, as a whisper. A subtle restlessness that moved through you when everything around you appeared perfectly fine. A sense that the life you were living, though not wrong, was no longer fully yours. as though you had been wearing a coat that fit you once and no longer does, and you kept wearing it anyway because you did not yet know what would replace it. That feeling has been growing steadily, quietly, building beneath the surface of your ordinary days like pressure beneath the earth before something ancient shifts. And tonight, on April 16th, the shift arrives. This is not metaphor. This is not poetic language designed to make you feel something that is not real. What is happening in the sky above you tonight is a convergence so precise, so layered, and so deeply aligned with the interior journey you have been on that the only word that fits is destined. The Balsamic Moon closes the final chapter of the lunar cycle, sealing everything that belongs to what was. The Sun and Chiron together surfaced the last wound that needed light before it could transform into wisdom. Mercury and Neptune together dissolved the final illusion that the mind was still clinging to, replacing it with something truer and more luminous than logic ever could have built. And Mars and Pluto together ignite the deep, unstoppable drive of a soul that is no longer willing to live at the edge of its own potential. All of this is happening at once. All of it is happening for you. The certainty you feel right now, that quiet, unshakable inner knowing that something is ending and something greater is beginning, is not wishful thinking. It is not the mind constructing a comfortable story to ease its own discomfort. It is your soul recognizing a threshold it has been moving toward for a very long time. Souls do not arrive at thresholds by accident. Every difficult season you have survived, every moment of grief you moved through without knowing why, every sleepless night, every withdrawal, every exhaustion that had no name, all of it was directional. All of it was bringing you here, to this night, to this exact moment of standing at the boundary between the life you lived as the old version of yourself and the life that is waiting to be lived as who you are actually becoming. You do not need to know exactly what comes next. The universe does not reveal the full map at the threshold. It reveals only the next step, and it asks only that you be willing to take it, that you be willing to release your grip on the story that is ending, that you be willing to stand in the unfamiliar space between who you were and who you are becoming without rushing back to the comfort of the known. Because what is on the other side of tonight is not just a new chapter. It is a new frequency, a new way of moving through the world, a new relationship with your own power, your own knowing, your own worth. The version of you that rises after April 16th will not carry what the old version carried. Not the wounds, not the limitations, not the quiet resignation that came from living too long inside a life that was always meant to be temporary. Tonight, the universe draws its line, and you are always meant to be on the side of what is becoming. The old you does not die in tragedy, it completes in grace, and what rises in its place has been waiting inside you, patient and luminous and entirely real, since the very beginning.